I am back. I'm back. I'm back. Facebook had put me in, I don't know, they said jail, restricted me from going live. Let me make sure I am live. Hold on. Give me a second. But this is Yolanda Gibbons, the author of Let's Chat About Love. And I am back with let's check. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, yes, I am live. I'm super excited to be back going live. These chats have definitely, I've gotten great feedback from these chats that it has given folks something to think about. I even got a parent to share with me that one of the chats that the virtual discussions that we had made her begin to make sure when her and her son come home from school and work that they are saying, I love you, and they're really embracing each other. So it's all good. There's definitely more to come from Let's Chat About Love. In case you did not know, this is your first time watching. I am the author of Let's Chat About Love, amongst many other things. If you don't have my book, get my book. Get my book. A lot of great information. I've got a lot of good feedback. So I am super, 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 super excited about tonight's chat because I have a very special guest. When we talk about our first kind of like our first heartbeats and all of that, you always hear people say, "This is my first heartbeat." Well, I gotta say, I guess she is my first heartbeat. Please, 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 if you are watching now, please make sure that you share, engage, comment, ask questions, all of that good stuff. I appreciate the interaction, and that you take an opportunity to chat with me on this virtual. So let me bring in my first heartbeat, as everybody say, my daughter, Shalonda Johnson.
Oh,
Hey,
hey, everybody.
my first heartbeat, my first love. Is that what we say as moms? That this is my first love. So I'm super excited to have her, who is now a mother herself, as well as an educator. So she is probably giving out a whole lot of love to a whole lot of people as a wife, a mother, a teacher, an educator, someone that is really socially conscious. She is a mentor to many directly and indirectly. Yeah, and I'm super proud of her. I am very, very super proud of her. You guys, she is actually the person who inspired me to even write a book. Now, she ain't know I was going to write a book about love, but she actually wrote a book, 5 years, maybe more than that, 7 or 8 years before I did. Too Far Gone. It is still available on Amazon. And she would say on occasion, Mom, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And we had no idea that it would be a book about love, but I'm super excited. I definitely believe that God gave me that title and gave me this platform because we've been saying it forever. We need love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. So let's get to it. Let's have some conversation. So Mother's Day is coming up. So I thought about, the bond between mothers and daughters. And so Googled, I Googled, what is love? What does love look like between mothers and daughters? And not even necessarily mothers and daughters, but being a mom, there have to be something special about the kind of love that we have on the inside of us. I found that it said a mother's love for her child is like nothing else in the world. It has no laws, no pities. It dares all things. It crushes anything that gets in the way of her child. I read that it is the purest and the one true love, at least one of the one true loves, I would say. So let's ask Miss Johnson, um, what is your take on the love of a mom and how important is a mother's love?
I would say my take on a mother's love is I believe it's your first introduction to love. I mean, you're literally in the womb of the woman who brought you in this world. And I mean, that's your first experience with love. So,
Right.
I mean, they say that it starts in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that from that point going into infancy, um, where you experience either that love experience or, some will say that survival experience, I think that it starts right away. And so, I mean, I just think it's really important. I think it's like your prime example of what love should look like. I mean, my personal experience is my mom was my everything. So, I mean, for me, that cultivates overall the person that I am. And then to be a mother just made me even better of a person. So,
Right. And you are being an educator, being in the schools and dealing with a bunch of children all the time. Are you seeing that there's an abundance of love from moms? Is there a lack of love? And it's just random because we did no research on it, but we're talking about just an observation. What is your observation on the lack of love or the abundance of love that you see in children that you deal with on a daily basis?
personally, I think that there is a lack. I think that there are, now this is just my opinion, I think that there are several reasons why we're experiencing um, some of the difficulties with our children and our youth. And one of them is the lack of love from mothers.
Mm,
I think what's incredible right now, being that I've been in education for over a decade, I
mhm,
remember a time where the interaction was more with mothers.
mhm.
And to be honest, lately, I see more fathers. I see a lot more fathers, which is great.
It
Like,
is.
but on the flip side, not only are we're there is a gap there with the mothers. Like, I mean, I know that partially a lot of us are working
Mhm,
and we're working a lot. Dads are becoming more of the stay at home, um,
mhm,
kind of figures. But I do see the pain in the kids that are missing their mothers. Honestly,
mm.
I
Okay.
do.
Okay. So what would you and it's good, you're right. Definitely there is a trend, and not that fathers haven't always been there, but I think we definitely see a we're or maybe just we're more aware the father's involvement, and some fathers are being you definitely stay at home dads, and we appreciate their involvement. But I'm hearing you say, but we there's something about a mother's love. And how would you describe a mother's love?
Nurture. I think that you want everybody wants to be nurtured to a
Mhm,
degree.
mhm,
Um, you just want to feel comforted.
mhm,
There's that side of us that wants to be vulnerable.
mhm,
I feel like, with your father, you want to make him proud, and not that you don't want to make your mother proud, but there is a difference. And I think that with your mom, you just sometimes want to be coddled, if I can use figurative language, just
mhm,
that part of you that soft part where you can just be. And I just that's how I view a mother's love, that is encouraging and empowering, and but nurturing and loving. um,
Mhm. Do you think, um, and even based on your own experience, the mother's love or lack of love, how does that play out as you become a teenager into becoming an adult and even a mother yourself?
um, that's a hard question. Ask me again.
The love of a mother or lack, how do you think, or even from your own experience, what role did that play into you becoming a teenager and then into your adulthood?
Um,
And you can think about, so maybe like this, somebody that you know, wow, their mom really loved them, and think about somebody who's like, there's some challenges. Or, I'm sure we've all had a friend where they've like, my mom don't really love me, or there's a disconnect.
um, how did it transcend into adulthood? I just think that, I don't know. For me, I think it's more. It was always just more of a model.
Mhm.
My my view of my mother growing up was more of a model figure, like who showed me how to be a woman, an independent woman, but also a loving, a woman who encourages people. Um, um, as far as lack thereof, I just think that it presents its challenges with relationships.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
kind of where not really being able to trust people, not being able to trust love. I guess when you see it, not
Mm,
being able to identify that
that's a good
that's what
one.
it is.
That's a good one.
Being more of a kind of a person that pushes away from love, doesn't
Mm,
understand it, um, and just having more of a hard time with relationships. I think overall,
mhm.
when there is like a disconnect with the mother and child relationship.
Mhm. Good point. I definitely agree that it carries over into adulthood, and I think oftentimes we don't even realize as an adult where it came from or where it comes from because we're just stuck in that adult moment. But if you backpedal, to moments in your childhood and your interaction with your parents or the lack of interaction with your parents, I definitely think it rolls over into your adulthood and how you interact and begin to have those adult relationships. So what is your take on, because I talk about this a lot in my book as it relates to self-love. What are your thoughts about self-love?
Um, Thoughts about self love. Self love can be challenging
Mhm,
for a lot of us. I think that self love um, is something that you're constantly working on. I
mhm,
think that especially for people who give a lot of love, that sometimes we get lost in it and not really knowing how to even like think about self a
mhm,
lot.
mhm,
I think that just talking with and being connected with people who are service workers,
mhm,
just self love is a challenge. I mean,
mhm,
yeah, we love ourselves, right? It's what pushes us and motivates us, but it has its moments where you realize, like, okay, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm
mhm,
doing too much, or how do I say no sometimes?
mhm,
I just think that I guess it comes with growth, as you become, older and wiser and more self-aware. Um,
mhm,
Self-love is something that you begin to put back in the forefront. and pay more attention to, and making sure that you're giving yourself, that.
Do you think women, even in our greatest moments, and we think, how we have this quote unquote, this invisible high self esteem, and we're so overly confident. Do you think as women, there comes a time when we just don't love ourselves?
That's a hard question. I mean, I probably,
Mhm.
probably. That's really hard because I feel like not loving yourself is such a hard way to say it.
Right. It is.
Um,
It is. It is. But maybe moments of feeling, um, I don't know. I don't even know the right word myself, but even in your age bracket, and how are what are you seeing with women in your age bracket as it relates to love and loving themselves?
well, to be honest, what I've seen in the past and what I've seen us kind of all go through is this feeling that we have to be the best, right? We have to be the best mothers. We have to be the best girlfriends or wives or whatever we're being. We have to be the best at work. We have to be the best as, just we have really pushed ourselves. And but lately I have noticed a trend of the whole like kind of knocking down the superwoman, super mom
Mhm.
syndrome.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those walls are being pretty much
Mhm.
torn down. A
Mhm.
lot of people are like, nope, you know what? On
Mhm.
second thought, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
And I've seen women actually start to say no and say yes to vacation, say yes to friends, say yes to brunch, with girlfriends. Just like I've seen us become more self aware because I think that for a lot of us, we were really breaking down. Like we were
Mhm.
really weighing ourselves down with perfectionists, like the perfectionist syndrome, trying to just do everything and be the best at everything. And I've seen myself personally. I know a few people who have had like serious meltdowns from trying to do it all and do it all well.
So do you think that comes with a mother that loves too much and maybe loving too hard and pushing too hard and setting these really high expectations? They're thinking as a mom, you're thinking, because I love you, I just want the best for you, and I'm pushing you to be the best that you can be. Kind of like that, what they say, that heart, that tough love, that tough love. What would you say to that whole tough love?
To be honest, I don't think that that's it.
Okay.
I think that the world has just changed. I think
Hmm.
that the pressures of what women experience as
Hmm.
of late is different than what, the pressures that maybe our parents or their parents experience. I don't even think that it's because we were pushed
Hmm.
that we got to the place that we were. I just think that the world changed. I think that the world is, while we love our independence and we love, being able to be leaders, in the world, and even in all aspects of the world. Like you see leaders, I mean, women on the horizon of leadership.
Hmm.
And I just think that that's kind of where the pressure came from or comes
Okay.
from. Um, but my opinion about the tough love part is that it's necessary sometimes,
Hmm.
but ultimately, I think that what most of us desire from our mothers is just encouragement, motivation, uplifting.
Hmm.
You know, we don't really, I don't think that we desire to be, tough loved by our moms. And I
Hmm.
think that that's where it gets tricky because if you are in a situation where you were raised by a single mother, that probably was your experience, right?
Hmm.
Your
Mhm.
mom who felt like she had to also be tough.
Mhm.
And that's where it gets tricky, and that's where I think there are gaps.
So was your mom tough?
Uh, as I look back, I don't think so. I actually think you could have been a little tougher sometimes.
Mhm.
I think that what my mom was just an example of what to be.
Mhm.
And, whether good or bad, mostly good things, great things. But I think that what I had to look at was why I'm why I am the way I am.
Mhm.
Less about what how much you pushed me, more about what you did and who
Mm.
you were.
Mhm.
And so, as for me, for a mom, I understand that. I can tell my kids all day, you need to get good grades or you need to do this. But if I cannot be an example of what it is that I want them to be, at its foundation, then I just don't think that that's possible anymore. I don't think we live in a world of do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Kids are not responding to that anymore.
Right. Right.
Um, so we have to be examples.
What are your thoughts about um uh God's love? And is it important that is it important for you to have in your life and in your family this knowing that there's this higher power that God loves us and what does that mean to you?
It means everything to me. And I would say there are moments even in my childhood, um, where I experienced God for myself,
Mm,
um, where I wrote to God, talked to God, for myself, and it really carried me through like some pretty dark times where I just
mhm,
felt, alone, or
mhm,
those preteen
mhm,
stages that we go through. I think that absolutely is important. And
mhm,
although, like I said again, times are changing. We aren't. Well, then we have COVID. We aren't in church every single Sunday, and while we're not, I still think it's super important to teach my kids how to pray and how to talk to God, and you know where where our soul comes from, and where our conscience comes from, and what that
mhm,
is. And when you're
mhm,
thinking about right or wrong, what
mhm,
that looks like, and why we have that. And absolutely, we have those conversations, and I think that it's so important, to stress that there's something bigger than me,
mhm,
you know,
mhm,
bigger than you, you know.
mhm, mhm.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when I say, I'm trying to share love, I'm trying to spread this message of love. Um, what are ideas do you have? How can we do that? Like, how could people do a better job of sharing and embracing love?
That's a hard that's a hard one. Um, I don't know. I'm stuck because I always just go back to my everyday is love. My everyday is
Hey, that's good though.
my everyday is literally love and embracing, our
Mhm,
youth and our babies, and just trying my absolute best to let them know that somebody loves them,
mm, mhm,
that I'm here for them, that I have an ear for them. And I think that even outside of just the kids, I mean, even for my peers, my colleagues, I
okay,
try to
yep,
be that person that I'm here to listen. What do I may not be able to be present. You can call me, you can text. I mean, however, um, But how can we spread it, and how can we, I don't know, it's such.
Well, I think you're saying it. You know, I think, and I'm trying to think of a better way, but you are. So I'm hearing from you that love is action. You know, it's what you do, it's who you are. So it's kind of a natural thing for you. Do you think the words "I love you," saying the words "I love you," is important?
This is the one that I wanted to talk about. I forgot. I think you did a show before. Yeah.
Mhm.
So here's the interesting thing. And this is like new news because I never talked about this with you.
Hmm.
But growing up, you never really, you were not a very vocal "I love you"
Hmm.
every day type of person.
Hmm.
So I do notice that in my adulthood, and this is why I say by action, in my adulthood, it was hard for me to say I love you.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I would be weirded out by people saying, "Oh, I love you."
Mhm.
I even have a friend right now that we know. She says I love you to everybody. Like it
Mhm.
before she hangs up the phone, it's like, okay, love you. And
Mhm.
at first I'm like, um, so because yeah, love was action. I mean, I always was loved. I knew I was loved, and I know how to show love. All that's just it's
Mhm.
natural for me. But saying I love you is something that I had to grow into and mature into.
Mhm.
And I do think that is important.
I do too. And it's something that obviously, something that I had to grow into. So it must have been something that was not said to me, possibly as a child. Not that I ever questioned if I was loved in my home, but clearly it must have been those 3 words. I don't know. People didn't say it, but now I say, I love you all the time. I don't have a problem with saying I love you. And I think those words are important, it's particularly when you mean it. I think people need to hear it. Um, and we know actions as quote unquote speaks louder than words, but sometimes people just really need to hear the words, I love you. You know, I love you. See you tomorrow. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow. I love you. Good night. I love you. And I that's a way right there.
Yeah.
I can say it more. You can
Yeah.
say it
You know
more.
what? You're right. I can say I love you more. I can definitely
I
say I love you more.
That is it. That is one way that we can, "Aw, I love you too, sis." We can all do a better job of being intentional, you know, making a conscious effort and not even like routine. Like, why do you a conscious effort to just embrace one another and say those words that I love you.
Yeah.
Um, verbally, via text, you know, however it is that you communicate. But verbally is definitely a great way to be able to. That's it. See, we came up with it.
No, I think that outside of text, I think that it's verbally. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I
actually gonna
agree.
go ahead and set a goal. I'm
Yeah,
every family person that I know, friend person that I know that I talk to, I'm literally gonna say I love you before I hang up.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I am gonna do the
And
same
they're
thing.
gonna be like, "What? You said?"
I'm gonna I'll make sure I do the same thing. So that is a way, and that's something for us to think about. And you brought up a good point. That you didn't feel lack of love, but the words "I love you" did not happen often, like in as a child. So you had to grow into like, you saying you love me? What? And being able to say it back. But we both definitely have kind of that personality. I don't think we just tell anybody we love them. But with everything that's going on in the world, I think that it is crucial to share love by actually verbalizing it. We just came up with something. I am going to challenge all you out there that's watching. If you do not use those 3 words, I love you, start using those 3 words. Wake up in the morning, tell the people around you, I love you. Say it to friends and families as you're having conversations. And
Even
be
when you're
intentional.
mad.
Even when you're mad, be intentional. Be intentional about saying those words. I love you. Super dope. Super dope. Definitely great information. So I know that you got all them kids. I said, oh, she got three. Um, that like, mama, we just getting home. We need some love. Um, so I definitely appreciate you joining your mom and being very, very transparent as we have this conversation about love. I want you to share with me and everybody that's watching what are your final words? What do you want to leave? Something about love, kids, family, mom, people. Come on, I know you drop nuggets, so you drop some nuggets. Yes, you do. So I know you got something in there, some final words to leave us with.
You did tell me to think about that.
I did.
Um,
I warned her, y'all.
Honestly, I my final words would be, man, that
Mm,
I just think we're in a time right now where our kids really just need us to be present and loving. So as we talk about kids and mother relationships with their children, I do just, you know, I don't bring my work home, but it does trouble me um, what they experience right now, what they're going through. So I just think that my final words to be any parent, um, get nosy with your kids.
mm,
So don't just let them say, "Oh, the day was good," and y'all go y'all separate ways. Um, I think that we're in a time where conversation is necessary, surpass the surface.
mm,
Um, you can't just ask the surface level questions. I
mm,
don't know. Watch a movie with them. Watch TikToks with them for 30 minutes. I don't know. Like whatever they're interested in, just to be connected.
mm,
Yeah. It wasn't like an encouraging word. I'm sorry. But I just think that we need to be more vigilant,
mhm,
right? Like being more aware of what they're experiencing right now, what they're going through. Be nosy, be all in their business. Like do whatever you need to do to make sure that you know what's going on with your babies. Um, because they're going through a lot.
mm,
And I
mm,
just, yeah, if we could love harder with them, I think
mm,
that it will make a lot of things better overall. Um,
mhm.
so that would be my final word.
That's it though. That is some great. Be present. You know, she said be present, be nosy. Love on your children, love harder. You know, love them a little bit harder than we have and um use the words I love you. Use the words. Verbal. Use the words. Verbalize to them that you love them. So y'all know I always have to bring something from my book and I ain't gonna let her go. She gonna stay on with me. She got a few more minutes. And I like to share something with my book. If you do not have it, it is on Amazon. Let me bring it a little bit closer. Yeah, let's chat about love. I always like to share a little tidbit. Let me see where I wanted to start. It is safe to say a lot of people move around the earth without genuinely having enough love within. I can boldly say many people don't even know if they have love for themselves. To put it simple, their self love is lacking, and yet most of them want to give love to others. I've had that struggle. Sometimes you'll have that struggle. Question: is it a conflict of interest when you attempt? to give what you yourself do not possess? Does it not brew problems when you attempt to give what is insufficient for you? You cannot give love. You cannot give what you don't have. I said all that to say, love on yourself first so that you can love on these babies. The scripture in the Bible says, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. If we take that second half, as you love self, and put it in front, love yourself, then love your neighbor. So it starts with us. Thank you, Shalonda Johnson, for being a part of this virtual discussion. Let's chat about love. Thank everybody for the comments, for watching. We hope you got a tidbit. I'm challenging, looking down because my phone is down there. I am challenging all of you to use the words, I love you. Not text, verbalize it. Say it to your children, to your spouses, your partners, your family, your friends, your mother, your grandmother, whomever, the next door neighbor. Use the words, I love you. All right. Peace. Until next time. I love y'all.